Hello, welcome to Secret Zone. Subscribe and turn on notifications for stories you won't forget. Ethan and Ava's life was the kind of love story people envied, the kind that seemed to belong in movies rather than reality. Every morning, Ethan would wake up to the warm sunlight streaming through the bedroom window, finding Ava already up, humming softly while brewing their favorite coffee blend. He'd wrap his arms around her from behind, feeling the steady rhythm of her heartbeat as they shared a quiet moment before the day began. Their weekends were a cascade of small joys, gardening together in the soft morning light, laughing as they tripped over Jose, playfully splashed water on each other. Evenings spent cooking elaborate meals side by side, tasting, teasing, and savoring every bite, not just for flavor but for the shared experience. Even simple errands were infused with charm, holding hands in the grocery store, leaving playful notes in each other's jackets, or stealing kisses in the car before a commute. Friends and family often commented on the way their eyes lit up when they looked at each other, the ease of their conversations, and the warmth that radiated from their home. Every night, Ethan would kiss Ava goodnight, brushing a stray strand of hair from her face, marveling at how the love between them felt effortless yet deep, like it had been written into the very fabric of their lives. Yet beneath the laughter and the cozy perfection of their routines, subtle hints of change began to stir, tiny inconsistencies in Ava's attention. A delayed reply here, a distracted smile there. But Ethan, immersed in the charm of their love, hardly noticed. Their bond seemed unshakable, an impenetrable fortress of trust and affection, making the thought that anything could pierce it almost impossible to imagine. Little did Ethan know the very rhythm of their love, the comfort of their daily routines, would soon become the backdrop against which the first shadows of betrayal would creep, a gentle prelude to a truth that would shake his world to its core. Ethan and Ava's love story was one of quiet perfection, the kind of relationship that felt timeless and effortless. From the moment Ethan first saw Ava at a mutual friend's dinner party 5 years ago, he knew she was different. Her laughter had a melody that lingered long after she stopped speaking, and her eyes held a warmth that drew him in completely. Their courtship was gentle, a slow unfolding of trust, charm, and shared moments that felt sacred. Every day of their lives together had become a ritual of affection and attention, a dance that neither of them wanted to end. Mornings were Ethan's favorite. He would wake early to the smell of freshly brewed coffee, always prepared just the way he liked it. Ava would hum softly in the kitchen, her hair tied back carelessly, a smile playing on her lips when she noticed Ethan peeking from the doorway. They would linger over breakfast, sipping coffee and exchanging playful banter, teasing each other about everything from work habits to the odd way Ethan folded his napkin. On weekends, their home came alive with laughter. They tended to their small garden together, planting flowers and herbs, joking as they tripped over hoses or got soil under their nails. Even mundane chores like grocery shopping became adventure, sharing snacks in the store aisles, sneaking kisses while no one was watching, and leaving tiny love notes tucked in jackets or wallets to find later. Evenings were no less enchanting. Ava loved cooking, and Ethan loved being her willing taste tester, savoring each dish as if it were a feast made only for them. They would talk for hours about everything: dreams, childhood memories, plans for the future, never running out of things to say. Their home was filled with warmth, both from the soft lights they always left on and from the love that seemed to radiate from every corner. Friends often commented on the way they looked at each other, the quiet understanding in their gestures, the way laughter seemed to bubble naturally whenever they were together. Ethan and Ava's bond extended beyond shared routines. They supported each other's ambitions fully. Ethan was a financial consultant who traveled frequently, but Ava never let distance create a rift. She would leave him little notes for his hotel room, messages that appeared at just the right moment to make him smile after a long day of work. They called every night, discussing the minutiae of their days, laughing about small frustrations, and sharing secrets that no one else could know. Their relationship had been carefully nurtured, built on trust, understanding, and the joy of knowing someone truly cared. It was during these moments of perfection, however, that the first faint shadows began to appear. Ava's attention, though mostly devoted, occasionally flickered. A delayed reply here, a distracted smile. They're small things, easily dismissed, easily explained away. Ethan noticed them, but, immersed in the charm of their love, hardly thought twice. After all, life was busy. and even the strongest bonds had tiny cracks that never really mattered, at least that's what he believed. And so, for now, their love remained unshakable, a beacon of warmth and intimacy that seemed destined to last forever, making the latest storm of betrayal and heartbreak all the more shocking when it arrived. Etha's work required frequent travel, 10 days each month, auditing regional offices and conducting training sessions. Eva, a talented marketing manager at a boutique agency, thrived in her own demanding career. At first, these separations were trivial, nothing more than the background hum of a life, both busy and fulfilling. Calls each night, photos of her day, little jokes shared over text, they were enough. But over several months, Ethan began noticing subtle, troubling patterns. Ava's replies became short, sometimes absent entirely. Calls were hurried, often interrupted by vague explanations about work or errands. Messages that once contained playful selfies or snapshots of the garden now read, "Busy, talk later." It started small, almost invisible. A missed call here, a delayed reply there. But Ethan's analytical mind noticed the pattern, a rhythm forming in the background of their life together. One evening, during a particularly long audit in mid-September, he called Ava at 11 p.m., only to receive no answer. Another call, 15 minutes later, also went unanswered. Finally, a text. "Sorry, in the shower, going to bed now." Kisses. That simple explanation didn't fit the Ava he knew, the one who showered promptly at 8 p.m. and read in bed before lights out at 10. The unease settled in his stomach like a cold stone. When he returned home, Ava seemed unusually cheerful, cooking his favorite meal, asking about his work with renewed interest. Ethan allowed himself to relax, questioning whether his suspicions were just paranoia. But the pattern continued. Every time he traveled, Ava became inexplicably busy. Meetings that ran late, impromptu work dinners, sudden projects she couldn't explain. Her world seemed to shift whenever he wasn't there. Ethan's growing unease became certainty as he pieced together clues. A different scent on the sofa, a glass of whiskey she never drank, a credit card charge for an expensive wine bottle she said was for a client. Plausible explanations piled up, each one seemingly innocent, yet together forming a mosaic of deception he could no longer ignore. In November, Ethan had a short, 3-day audit in a nearby city. His plans changed unexpectedly, allowing him to return home early. The drive back was torturous, each passing mile heightening his anticipation and dread. The familiar street, familiar houses, and familiar neighbors offered no comfort. As he turned onto his driveway, he froze. A black luxury car, unfamiliar, but recognizable, sat in the garage. Brandon's car, one of Ava's agency partners. The realization hit like a punch. Ethan's calm/analytical mind had pieced it together, but nothing could prepare him for the confrontation ahead. Inside the house, laughter echoed through the living room, feminine and deep male voices mingling. The scene was undeniable. Ava and Brandon, close, intimate, caught in a betrayal that had been months in the making. Ethan set his suitcase down slowly, closing the door behind him, letting the sound echo, letting the silence build. Ava's panic was immediate, words tumbling out in hurried explanation. But Ethan's calm composure, built over months of observation and heartbreak, made the truth clear to both of them. The confrontation was verbal but heavy with emotion. Ava's pleas met with Ethan's icy, measured responses. The affair had lasted 8 months, a betrayal hidden behind the charm and perfection of their shared life. Each excuse, each explanation, had been dismantled, not with anger, but with undeniable truth. Ethan's next steps were deliberate. He contacted his lawyer immediately, presenting proof of the affair. He called Brandon's wife, Sarah, calmly revealing the truth without malice, giving her the choice to act on the information. The consequences rippled outward naturally. Without Sarah's investment, Ava's agency faltered. Projects were lost, employees left, and within months, the company closed. Life had a way of balancing itself, and Ethan did not need to intervene further. The divorce process was swift and one-sided. Ethan retained the house and assets, while Ava was left with mounting debts and a damaged professional reputation. Her attempts to reach out, through calls, texts, and emails, were ignored, filtered strictly through legal channels. Ethan's heart, once raw with shock and pain, settled into a quiet, firm resolution. He had not sought revenge. He had sought justice, the kind that truth naturally provides. Months later, Ethan began moving forward. He met a witty, kind colleague who shared his humor and honesty. Their relationship grew organically, without the pressure or secrets that had once tainted his marriage. One sunny July afternoon, nearly a year after the confrontation, Ethan was tending the garden, planting new flowers he had once shared with Ava. His phone rang a picnic invitation from his new partner. He smiled, locking the door behind him, feeling the first sense of unburdened happiness in months. Ava, meanwhile, faced the consequences of her choices. The agency was gone. Brandon returned to his wife under strict conditions, and she was left to rebuild her life alone. Ethan felt no glee in her misfortune, only the satisfaction that justice had unfolded naturally. The chapter of his life marked by betrayal was closed, replaced by a chapter of honesty, clarity, and renewed hope. Love, trust, and truth had triumphed, and Ethan embraced the life he deserved, no longer burdened by secrets, lies, or shadows in the living room. Months later, Ethan began moving forward. He met a witty, kind colleague who shared his humor and honesty. Their relationship grew organically, without the pressure or secrets that had once tainted his marriage. One sunny July afternoon, nearly a year after the confrontation, Ethan was tending the garden, planting new flowers he had once shared with Ava. His phone rang a picnic invitation from his new partner. He smiled, locking the door behind him, feeling the first sense of unburdened happiness in months. Ava, meanwhile, faced the consequences of her choices. The agency was gone. Brandon returned to his wife under strict conditions, and she was left to rebuild her life alone. Ethan felt no glee in her misfortune, only the satisfaction that justice had unfolded naturally. The chapter of his life marked by betrayal was closed, replaced by a chapter of honesty, clarity, and renewed hope. Love, trust, and truth had triumphed, and Ethan embraced the life he deserved, no longer burdened by secrets, lies, or shadows in the living room. Please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Thank you. The end.